Well, as Jeff said, this will be a big week for us, a busy week, trying to get the guys through finals. Today, we got back last night around 1 o'clock in the morning, so they hit the ground running this morning, trying to get those finals in. We're going to give them Tuesday off also to get back and get all the schoolwork underneath their belt because they're trying to finish academically. We'll go back out and practice Wednesday morning and Thursday, and then get ready for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. As Jeff said, we got one midweek win, and then went on into Boone this weekend. I thought Gunner threw a great game. That might have been the best I've seen him pitch all year. He just really did a great job for us. Problem is, other guy did a good job too, and he gave up only 1 earned run and loss, and that's a tough outing. But as I told him after the game, you know, those are going to happen along the way if you pitch long enough in this business. The big thing you got to keep focused on is that you threw a great ball game and you gave us a chance to win. Usually when somebody throws as well as that guy did with so much run and sink that night, next day you're going to score runs. Didn't know we'd get 20, but next day usually you're going to score some runs. Trouble after that is that after you score those runs, the next day runs are a premium. And you know, that was a disappointing thing. We got, you know, they had a bad bullpen and we can only get to their bullpen one day. I thought we needed to do a better job of trying to get into their pen, and we didn't do that. We let 2 guys throw complete games, well, almost a complete game on Sunday against us, and then probably made 1 guy pitcher of the week. So, you know, we got to do a better job than that. This weekend's going to be really important for us. We got to get through a lot of things, from the finals to the last homestand to get through graduation day and Mother's Day and everything else. There'll be a lot going on, and a very good baseball team coming in. South Al does all 3 things really good. That's why they're at the top of the league. When you can pitch, hit, play defense, you're gonna be good. And then they do it in the order that I like it done. They go up the top and pitch it. First in the league, we're right behind them, which is phenomenal with so many freshmen to be where we're at. We're so fortunate. And you know, but they're at the top of the league in pitching. They're also at the top of the league in fielding. Those 2 things right there will always equate into something good. They only hit 9 home runs all year. Just goes to show you the premium on pitching and defense. That's where it all lies. And so they're a good team. They can pitch, they can hit, they can play defense. They got 71 stolen bases, so they're active on the bases. Our freshmen are going to have to really grow up this week and be good, because they're going to face a team that is good. One good thing is we do have them at home, and so we'll have to counteract it and make sure we pitch, we play defense, and then hopefully try to get this thing to come down to timely hitting. But they are a good baseball team because they can do all 3 things. Open the floor for questions you might have.
Any progress with Greg?
We'll know. He didn't come with us. We left him and Zombreaker back. Both those guys were out to stay off the trip that we had, because we had a 2-hour bus ride to New Orleans, and then an hour-and-a-half flight, and then another hour and 45-minute bus ride. So that'll put that groin and that back into too much. They couldn't perform for us anyway over the weekend, so we felt it was senseless to put them through that grind of a road trip and let him stay behind. So we'll see Greg this afternoon. He has been throwing. He's beyond flat ground. Now he's moving up to a bullpen. So we'll see him this afternoon and tomorrow and try to get a status on where he's at.
Where do you think, like last week, you reach now in terms of finishing out? Do you have to win the tournament to get a bid, or
well,
finish strong enough?
Well, that's really not our worry. We go game by game. I mean, we got to hit better this weekend. You know, we had a bad ERA team, and 2 guys almost threw complete games against us. So, you know, that's our focus right there. We got to get somebody to help us in the 9-hole. We got 3 freshmen that are going to throw this weekend against a very good baseball team. So, you know, that's what our focus is. Where we are, we put ourselves where we are, and you know, we got to fight and scratch to get out of it. Again, I think we've got to be able to swing the bat down the stretch consistently, because it's going to get tougher and tougher for these freshman pitchers now this weekend to face the team that they're going to face. But, you know, if we put ourselves in that position, we'll have to go do what we have to do. But in this business, you know, as I told Mike last week when he asked me about South Al, when people start to assume you're going to sweep and you assume you're going to do this, and you assume you're going to do this, you know what happens when you assume. And we tried to stay out of that to the best of our ability. So I wouldn't want our players looking ahead going, man, we're going to have to win the tournament. I hope that they're focused on South Alabama for Friday. That's where we're going to stay and try to stay put right there and, you know, stick our head up after the weekend and look and see where we're at.
Was part of it maybe too with the hitters, maybe, which was feared, was going there swinging for the fences instead of just sticking with what they should be doing, or was it something different?
No, I think the first night guy threw just a great ball game. I think that guy would have beat a lot of people on that night. Sunday was a little disappointing. They threw a senior. He had a Y. I mean, he was a senior. We told them this was going to be their last weekend, so, you know, you got to assume they're going to stand up and fight. And that guy came out and threw a great ball game also. And we didn't pitch enough either in that game. You know, in the middle innings, we gave up a 3-run inning, and then Greg got a ball out of the ballpark. You know, and it would have put us 3-3 or 4-3, which would have put a lot more pressure on them and their bullpen. And the guy got too many easy innings. You know, a 6-pitch inning, an 8 or 9-pitch inning. When you want to get to somebody's bullpen, you know, you don't want to have easy innings because that was their Achilles heel. And give them credit, they sent 2 pitchers out that didn't allow us to get to their bullpen, and 1 pitcher allowed us to get in their bullpen. We just scored enough runs in one game to sweep the series. We just scored them all in one game. And the other 2 guys really threw good ball games against us. And that's kind of how it played out. I can see the first one. That guy that night was really good. But I give Gunner credit. He did everything. If he can stay doing what he's doing, and he only gave up 1 earned run. But Sunday, I thought, you know, usually on Sundays, you know, it's usually a run day, and we just didn't swing the bat well.
How do with a big weekend series, how do you keep your guys with finals week going on engaged in their schoolwork, but also, you know, getting mentally prepared for?
Well, you have to give them their time, I think. You know, I mean, if you watched last night on the bus, you know, they're all studying on the bus trip and the plane trip back, buying energy drinks to stay up all night. So it'll be a tough week. I mean, but you got to give them their space and their time. I don't think you can run out there and practice while they're in the middle of this. And so that's why we're going to give them today and tomorrow to take care of all that. And then Wednesday's dead day, or study day, so it's a lot easier to practice. And then we'll kind of pick a time on Thursday according to what the final schedule looks like. Our Student Athlete Academic Center prints out when all the players' finals are, and then we select practice time according to their finals. And so, you know, again, we've gone through this many times. It's not something that's new. I mean, you know, sometimes we have to do it before we even get on the road. We're a little fortunate that we got finals here at home, so that makes it a little bit easier. Most guys will move up their finals if they can. Some of the professors will allow them to move them up on a day to try to finish before we start everything. So we'll work through it.
You mentioned not looking too far ahead and all that team-wise. How well and how has Blake handled not looking at the draft and what obviously is coming up for him?
He's done a really good job. You know, he's a guy that is such a team player. You know, I mean, there's a banquet tonight at 6 o'clock that him and I have to attend for Student Athlete of the Year. So he's had a lot on his plate, but he's handled it really well. He's very mature for his age. He's always played up above his chronological age anyway. I mean, even as a freshman, he played like almost a late sophomore. But he's handled it really well. He's put his meetings on the days that they needed to be. If we've had weightlifting, you know, he'll meet after, before. He's really put the team first through it all, and done a good job. The good thing about where he's at is that I think he's past that threshold now, to where a lot of them have got him in where they see him in at, and so now I don't think there's a lot more that he has to do, if you will. So that makes it a little bit easier. It's kind of like LaCroix towards the end. You know, they had done their paperwork, and we saw where he was going to be, and he didn't really have to do anything. So I think Blake's past that point. I think all the national cross-checkers, all the GMs, everybody that's come in to see him, pretty much he's beyond that point now. So, but he's handled it really well, really well. Last year, I give the team credit too, because we only had it this year with just a couple guys. You know, last year we had, you know, we must have had 60 meetings. I mean, it was unbelievable. And for those guys to have stayed focused on what they had to stay focused on, they did a great job. This year has been a lot easier because it's only really been 1 or 2 guys that we've had to have meetings for.
Did Blake benefit from watching that process last year?
I think so. He watched it, and he saw it, and I think he was better prepared for it because he saw so much of it. And I mean, it's not easy. Just like when LaCroix was here, you know, I mean, you take a BP and you know, everybody wants to videotape you when you get to those rounds. So, you know, you got to let a guy on the field, and he's trying to take his BP while they're following him around the back of the cage with a video camera. But he's handled it really well. It's not an easy thing to handle, but Blake's done a really good job.
Tony, you talked about the final week, but you've had 2 straight weeks of 5-game weeks. Is it coming at a good time now?
Yeah, I think so, especially where finals hit. You know, we get a little time off to help us, especially from this road trip, because it's not an easy road trip. So much is involved in it, from the 2-hour ride there, and then an hour and a half there, and then another hour and a half to the ballpark and back, and then, you know, we did last night at 1 o'clock in the morning. So I think it comes at a good time. Hopefully we can get them through Monday and Tuesday, put our eyes on them on Wednesday, you know, and look at them, and hopefully get them up and running, you know, for the weekend, because this will be a big weekend. We're playing a very good baseball team.
We always knew about Steve Kittrell coach teams. What kind of a description would you put on the South Howell coaching team?
Mark and I are good friends. We played against each other for a long time. You know, he was at FIU as their pitching coach, and so I think, you know, again, having a pitching coach at the head over there, they're going to spend a lot of time on pitching, and they're first in the league in pitching. So he's a good pitching coach. He's a good coach. He went on there from South Carolina and spent some time with Ray Tanner and was on the field. They won a national championship. So he brings a lot of experience, you know, to their team. He's had a couple injuries, key injuries, a rash of them really a year or 2 ago. So he's getting some of those guys back. And again, they do 3 things well. And when you do those 3 things, man, you can pitch, you can hit, you can play defense. I mean, you're going to be at the top of the league. It's very hard not to be at the top of the league in anything if you can pitch and play defense. Hitting will keep you up there for a while, but good pitching is going to tame good hitting somewhere along the way. The pitching and defense, it gives you a chance every night out. I mean, like Jeff said a minute ago, we had, I think, 9 home runs. What'd you say?
9 home runs.
And only got 2 wins. So is the long ball that important? They only got 9 on the year, but they're first in the league. So they pitch and play defense. And we got ourselves to the top in hitting, got ourselves to the top in pitching, which is very phenomenal with these young guys, but we're 6th in the league in fielding. That's the difference maker. Last year's team was at the top of the league in fielding. Just can't put enough premium on defense. I mean, especially in our business, because the defense can't score. Football, you can intercept the pass and go score and help your offense. Basketball, you can intercept the pass and go score. Baseball, defense doesn't score, but it prevents scoring. That's why defense is so important in this business, and that's been our Achilles heel, in the first half. In fact, Friday night, Gunner gives up 1 earned run. We tied 1-1 with the kicker ball. That guy goes around to score, and it does his end. It goes 2-1. Catch the ball, throw the guy out. He's at 112 pitches. Who knows? We go into extras, 1-1. They go into the bullpen. You saw that bullpen. We would trash their bullpen. The problem is, couldn't get to it. Only got to it one day. And that's the price, the premium on defense. And it looks like he's got some guys that can hit and can play defense. So when you start to get that, They're not a big power hitting team, but because they can run the bases well, they're standing in second and third a lot. So that's what helped us so much last year. Another big thing you got to watch with them is that they lead the league in walks. See, we don't walk enough. And when you don't walk enough, you know, that hurts you. What got us from the 43 wins the year before to 58 is our walks went up. So now we had controlled aggression. We had power hitters last year that had controlled aggression. That was the big difference maker from the 43 to the 58, is that we walked more. And when you can walk with slug, you know, you're going to score some runs. And, you know, you look at Friday's game, you know, we're trying to get to a guy's bullpen, and we were having 6-pitch innings. You can't have a 6-pitch inning if you're going to try to get to somebody's bullpen. You'll never get to the bullpen that way. I had a 6-pitch inning, an 8-pitch inning, 9-pitch inning. And that's the difference maker. We let that guy stay in the game too long on us. And so South Al must do a good job of just looking at their numbers of handling the strike zone, because they don't strike out much. So, I mean, that's all music to a manager or a coach's ears right there, man. I mean, play defense, pitch, walk a lot, handle the strike zone, and don't strike out. Those are all the things that lead to a good team. And those guys do a lot of good things good. That's why they're at the top of the league. And we'll have to play well to do it. We'll have to throw strikes. These freshmen are going to have to hold runners. And they'll earn their salt. One good thing is they've had a lot of experience through the year this year to be able to get to this point. And we'll have to play good defense. Nothing new. I mean, nothing new. We'll have to be consistent. We'll have to have a big weekend. We'll have to have all hands on deck. All the guys that maybe have struggled along the way are going to have to stand up and play big this weekend.
You've got top pitching team coming in. They make sure you guys focus on going after their hitters and not trying to match what the other guys doing on the mound opposite.
Well, what your goal is when you bring somebody in that I never really want to face a good pitching team. I'd rather face a good hitting team any day of the week, but they can pitch. So because of that, you do have to try to match them. And you have to pitch in defense. That's the name of the game. That's what Gunnar did. Gunnar did a beautiful job. I mean, that was a that was an NCAA regional game in the sense of what that guy was throwing. We knew it was gonna be tough all night, and Gunnar knew after the first inning, like I told him, you know, don't be surprised if you don't get many runs, and you're gonna have to hang on for us. And he did a great job. The only run he gave up was the error that allowed the runner on. That was his only. The second run, I mean, he gave up. Threw a back leg breaking ball. Guy just dropped the head of the bat on it, hooked the ball around the foul pole on him, and that did him in. But he did a great job. That's what he'll have to do right there. Not to ask him to hold him down the one earned run, but he'll have to do what he did there, is manage the ball game. Being a left-handed pitcher, that usually does slow somebody's running game down. They're better running usually against right-handed pitchers and lefties. So I think that'll be important for him. But again, they just do all three things good. So we're going to have to do all three things good for the weekend.
Any more questions?
I want to congratulate Mike and the softball team. They're not here yet for winning that championship. Okay. Thanks guys.